Um, good win by our guys. They found a way to get it done against a gritty team. It's a positive. We didn't play our best as a group, but we found a way to get it done. So that's about that.
Question. Wayne, Olaf and Langston both scoring in double figures tonight. You told us yesterday that it was a little bit of a mental switch. Is that what you saw tonight, and maybe overall what you see from both of them?
Yeah, I just, we've been harping on those guys to not think about scoring, to think about defending and rebounding and cutting hard and running hard, and that opportunities amazingly will present themselves. And so I think it took a little bit of a load off of them maybe to focus on just fewer things, and then, they would have to credit their teammates for finding them in positions where they can be successful, drawing kicks to Olaf where he can shoot it. He had a nice putback to start the game. I think that got him to relax. And so it was neat to see. And Langston, same thing. He got some baskets for us, and a little bit of momentum at times. But we've got to be a lot better. 16 turnovers is a joke. We should have hammered them on the boards. Time and time again, we had defensive breakdowns that we don't normally have. So it's a win. We're happy that we aren't learning these lessons from another tough loss, but we also all understand we've got to be a lot better, a lot more focused, and play with a lot more urgency across the board. Veterans, young guys, you name it.
And then Olaf, how would you evaluate your own performance tonight?
Well, it was good for me to see some shots going, but then defensively, I think I made a lot of mistakes too. So, I scored a bunch of points, but also gave up some. So I need to work on that. And then, I'm just trying to be more aggressive and come out with the energy that, keeps me going. And I'm glad it, kind of worked out tonight. And I'm glad we got the win, first and foremost.
Wayne, could you talk a little bit about Derek Bruce, especially in the second half? It looked like he really controlled the ball well, had a lot of nice passes.
Well, we just we weren't getting a ton out, we needed somebody in there we thought that could handle pressure and pick up the tempo for us. We had way too many turnovers from our starting guards at halftime, and he did a really good job when we got stops and rebounds and outlets to him of getting up and creating opportunities for us in transition. So, credit to him. He had a nice 3 for us in the first half, and he really created the tempo for us. And I thought he caused some problems defensively. There was a couple of breakdowns with some on-ball coverages with he and the young big fellow, but he really kind of gave us a spark. He got out in transition and made some plays for us and for his teammates, which I thought was big.
Wayne, it seemed like all the freshmen you put out there in the second half came up with some big plays for you. Did you gain a little bit more confidence in those guys tonight, maybe more than you had?
Yeah, there's a couple of things I know with those freshmen. They're going to play their asses off, and they're going to keep good attitudes. Are they going to make some mistakes? Yeah, yeah, they will. But we need them out there because they're trying to do things the way that we're asking the guys to do them. And hopefully it puts a little, pressure or competition on the other guys to do the same thing. And if we can buy into that, then it's going to make our team stronger. So I was proud of those guys. Stevie had some big plays. Trace hit a big 3, played really good defense. But it's nice to know that we've got some different pieces to go to. And we stayed with those guys a lot the last 8 minutes of the game, and it was neat that they were able to push it out and close it out along with the help of some of those vets.
And how about Drew's play in particular tonight?
It was nice to see Drew bounce back. He's going to be mad that he knows he missed a double-double. We're trying to keep it simple for the big fella right now, and he's having a lot thrown at him. And to his credit, he keeps coming back for more. And we want him to be, I think I can say this, and I said, I want one little mantra going through your mind: ass kicker. Whenever I ask you something, just think ass kicker. And that's, we need it. We need him to engage in physicality, ducking, sealing. It's something he's not used to, and we're trying to get him there. And Although we don't want him to throw a forearm in front of the referees with under a minute to go in a close game. And we think we made that point pretty clear. But I'm proud of him. He bounced back after a couple of games where he knew he didn't give us what he thought he should.
Wayne, they only attempted 2 free throws tonight. Has it been one you've ever been a part of, and does that just kind of speak to the?
Well, you know, I don't. It was funny. One of the coaches yelled at Trace for a foul in the second half, and I said, "Crap, man, we said we only had, you know, a couple fouls at halftime. We're trying to get aggressive. That's what we want, right?" I just don't think we were aggressive enough defensively, physical enough, obviously. I mean, we should be getting fouls on box outs, quite frankly. It's one opportunity you have to really get physical. And so, you know, the physicality and toughness has been a concern. And, well, do you look at it and say it's a good thing? Well, I don't know. They shot too good a percentage from the floor, you know, and they scored too many points against our defense. So I would say that we weren't physical enough, I guess, to answer that.
The coaches have talked a little bit about being kind of hard on you early. How do you feel like you've kind of handled that pressure from them?
Well, coming in, it definitely was something I wasn't used to. But they just told me to just buy into it, just keep coming back for more, and eventually they won't have to yell at me, I guess, but they still will. They'll find something to yell about, but
You'll give us reason.
yeah, I'll give them reason. But I think I've gotten used to it more, not let it get to me so much, but I still need to improve on how well I handle their coaching and yelling.
He's not the only one. All those freshmen do. My own son, Coach Thompson, Derek. I think the only one that really doesn't have an issue with it is Big G, and that's probably because he doesn't understand what we're saying.
Drew, I think midway through the second half, I think you had a block on one end, fast break on the other. Gary had the alley-oop dunk, crowd's going pretty nuts. Do you get caught up in that a little bit too? I mean, you know, sort of the emotion of it?
I try not to, but it's hard when we have such a great crowd that really gets into the game, and like you can't even hear, like after you make a great play, you can't even hear like the person next to you. So that's something I need to work on, is just blocking that out, but it's hard not to get into it.
Wayne, Gary tied his pops tonight with 37 straight games with a steal. I know it's an individual stat, but could you speak to how?
Yeah, that's pretty neat. That's a neat deal, and we knew it was coming. We could kind of see him at the start of every game trying to get out there and make some plays. And, you know, it's a fine line because sometimes he doesn't come up with them, and then we're a man down defensively. And we give him a little more leash because he's athletic enough to get back and make up for it. But we've also challenged him, especially kind of in crunch time, to use a little better, I guess, due diligence on when he takes those opportunities. But he's a difference maker defensively when he's dialed in, because he comes up with loose balls, he gets deflections, he gets steals, and makes a lot happen out there for us. So it's a neat deal, and hopefully on Saturday, you know, he'll be able to take care of that early in the game, and then we can move on and get him playing the game.
Do you find that it comes within the framework of the defense? It's not really an individual one-on-one steals, but a lot of them are based on.
Most of them are off the ball, and I think it's partly our defense and the position we put in, and partly him just trying to make things happen. Is that fair, Olaf? So I got to give him credit. I mean, he's a competitor on the defensive end, and as a team, we need to get better. That we're a little more on page. I don't think all 5 of us are engaged and on page enough yet, but it's nice to have him out there knowing that he can cover up for a lot of mistakes.
Final question. Coach, could you talk a little bit about Hoops Camp and what it's like having your kids around today?
Say that again.
Could you talk a little bit about Hoops Camp?
Hoops Camp?
Yeah.
Really cool deal. I've known Steve Garrity for a lot of years. He and I played against each other way back in the day. And when he approached us, I don't know, a couple months ago, we thought this would be a heck of an opportunity, not only for his group, but also for us and our fans to celebrate, you know, a group of, you know, I can't say kids because they're all ages, you know, that have some sort of a disability, and to have them come and be a part of Gil, to see some excitement, for our guys to have a little bit of understanding about, you know, giving back and helping some awareness and raise some money for them is is huge. I mean, the amount of volunteer hours they put into that, and what is it, 23 years they've been doing it, is pretty incredible. And it was neat, quite frankly. I was about ready to blow my top going to the locker room at halftime, and they were all lined up in the tunnel slapping us 5. And it was great for me because it got me to calm down, I think, a little bit. So neat, and it's great that Oregon State supports those kind of things, not just our program, and it's what we stand for. So it's nice to give back, and I think they gave us some motivation too, which was cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. Go Beavs.